Outside the police station and the magistrate's court in Orange Walk Town today, the relatives of Noel Codd and Mennonite Isaac Petka waited patiently to see if either of the men would have been charged as inferred by the Commissioner of Police for facilitating the landing of a plane in an unregistered aerodrome. This is in connection with a recent suspected drug plane that landed on a farm belonging to Codd several miles outside of Santa Marta village on the Old Northern Highway. But that did not happen. In fact, this afternoon, only Codd was charged with possession of a prohibited ammunition, a single 7.62 bullet, which was purportedly found on the farm.
The police have been doing their investigations, and suddenly they found one round, they claim, of ammunition, the caliber of which falls under the Firearms Act as a prohibited ammunition. That is the charge 2.5 days later that Mr. Noel Codd is in the Orange Walk Magistrate Court. The prosecutor, on behalf of the police department, has asked the magistrate not to grant Mr. Codd bail, and we can tell you why. They are awaiting instructions from Belmopan as to whether to charge Mr. Codd and a Mennonite represented by my colleague, or Mr. Codd, for some kind of link with the plane that they believe brought drugs into Belize.
The charge says Bradley came after Codd's 48 hours in police detention had expired. 4 other men, including a 17-year-old minor and his uncle Gilbert Hines, who are farmhands at the 262-acre property, were released without charges this morning. But what about shipyard resident Isaac Petka? Attorney Marcel Cardona says that he remains in custody pending charges, but that his 48 hours expires before the end of the workday today.
4 persons have already been released. And I must point out that, in fact, coincidentally, in roughly about an hour and a half, at exactly 5 o'clock, between 4:30 and 5 actually, 48 hours is completed. 48 hours since his original detention on Monday.
This in your opinion?
And still no charge.
On Tuesday, Commissioner of Police Chester Williams said that there is sufficient evidence gathered so far by investigators to level charges against Codd and Petka.
We believe that by day ends today, or early tomorrow morning, we should be able to charge at least 2 individuals, that is the owner of the farm and the Mennonite who owns the bulldozer, both of whom we have received reliable information and evidence to suggest that they were on site when the plane landed. So we believe that we'll be able to make an arrest in this instance.
Attorneys Bradley and Cardona believe that the police department is playing with their clients. Cardona says that today his client was taken to Corozal and essentially bribed to implicate Codd in exchange for his release from police custody without charges.
My client has informed me that when I was searching all around and I was being informed that he's here and he's there and he's all around the station, he had already been whisked off to Corozal to prevent him from being able to have access to his attorney, which is his constitutional right, of course. And so, to prevent him from being able to be represented by his attorney, he was taken to Corozal, and he was furthermore taken to Corozal under the promise that if he gives a statement to the police containing certain information, that he would be released, right, free of charges. And number 2, that his bulldozer, which represents his life savings, would be returned to him, and it would not be confiscated as the police had threatened him that they had the power to do and they could do if he did not give them the statement that they were looking for.
Did he accept?
Yes, yes. Unfortunately, in the absence of legal representation, in the absence of his attorney, he caved in to pressure from the police, and he gave them the so-called statement that they were looking for.
So that statement is to implicate Mr. Codd?
That is correct.
That statement, says attorneys Dicky Bradley and Marcel Cardona, has been repudiated by Petka. Duane, Moody for News 5.